How's it look, Mike? It's going? Hello? Okay. So anyone joining on the live stream, we're just going to wait a few more minutes. We had a change of location, so we're going to give people a chance to come to the DMS auditorium. So as you guys probably realize, we're still getting used to our new Parent Square app and all of the features that it has. So I tried putting out an update this morning at 8 o'clock about the change in location, but I'm not sure it was super clear, as you have probably discovered with a little field trip up to the high school and back down here to the middle school. Well, perfect. And I think some people have probably chosen to just view from the comfort of their home online. So we'll give everybody a few more minutes if people are joining us here in person. And what I'm going to do is really turn it over to Mr. John Durkee, who's the high school principal. He's going to start with a little overview, and then Mr. Eric Guercio, who's our 7th and 8th grade school counselor, he's going to give some more details about scheduling for 9th grade and things like that. And since we do have an intimate audience, we'll be able to answer any questions you guys have. This is really just the kickoff to getting started thinking about our 8th graders moving into 9th grade. And so there'll be plenty of opportunities along the way for any questions to be answered. You want to get started? Okay. So Mr. John Durkee, got to use this for the live stream to pick up the audio.
I'm going to move up here. Hi, everybody. My name is John Durkee. If I have your children already, which I may, welcome. It's good to see you. And if this is your first coming in, how many of you is this your first coming into high school? Oh boy. So it's a pleasure to meet you. It's going to be a great 4 years. It's going to be a blast. I always start off with this slide just to have it read and resonate with people, because I think that sometimes we get lost in the minutia of what we do as kids enter high school, that it's all about English, math, science, and social studies. And really what high school is all about is developing the whole person and developing the child to their fullest potential, and to help them really, the child that graduates and walks the stage that I hand the diploma to is a critical reader, writer, and consumer of information. We think that best sets the tone for the world as they walk out the door. So I've been doing this now. I've been the high school principal. This is my 18th year. So I've been there longer than your children. It's unbelievable. I don't feel like 18 years have passed by. It feels like yesterday that I started. I was talking with one of the parents who has a 9th grader, and I was her principal here, an incoming 9th grader, and I was her principal when I first got here. So now that I really feel old. But I will tell you that your children are in capable hands, and great hands as they move from the capable hands of the middle school up into the high school. What I really want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the dynamics of the high school and what makes that education a little bit different. There's a lot of things that go on that you need to know. There's a lot of scheduling things. There's a lot of graduation requirements. There's a ton of information to make them college ready. And what I try to tell people is, in due time, if we try to consume all this at one time, we're going to get very anxious and we're going to get upset. I have one of the best staff. I believe, I know I'm biased in it, but I believe I have the best staff capable of answering any question or handling any problems that we may have. What I'll talk about tonight is a little bit about dialogue and how important that is. But before I get there, I can't leave without telling you that we're not going to ignore the pandemic. It has been something, obviously, all you got to do is watch the news. We are dealing with it. We are dealing with every facet of it. We're dealing with the impacts socially and emotionally on the children, and we're dealing with them academically on the children. And this is very, very different for any of us. For me, being in education for a total of 33 years, I feel like I'm a first-year principal. I'm doing everything like for the first time. And really what's ended up happening is we've had to come to this understanding that anything that we're dealing with here, the whole world is dealing with. And we commiserate with that a little bit, but it lets us know that in context, the things that are happening are going to be addressed, and the things that are happening everywhere. I think we're very lucky here. The one thing I have always said is the parent engagement is extremely high here, and obviously I think that helps to minimize the problems that have been caused by the pandemic. You know, to give you an example of this is, you know, everyone is so worried about their children coming into high school, getting their SAT scores up, their ACT scores up, and then we realized a few years ago that so many colleges were going SAT and ACT optional. My own son, who's a freshman at Guercio, took no ACTs, no SATs, and got into Guercio, one of the more competitive SUNY schools. And it really came down to, you know, when you take something away, everyone is going to look at everything else a little bit differently. And for us, it's maintaining what I have up here. We want to set your child up to get the best grades he or she can possibly get. And we want to give them the curricula that challenges them and doesn't over-challenge them. There's an instructional challenge that happens. And when you get above instructional challenge, you get into what we call instructional frustration. When kids get into instructional frustration, they shut down. So we're always trying to find that sweet spot for the kids to keep them in the pocket in their education in terms of the curricula that we offer. We're also looking at what they do in terms of their extracurricular activities, because if you take away their SAT, ACT scores, everything else that colleges look at become more pronounced. So they are looking at what's your child doing outside of the classroom? Are they involved in activities? Are they getting involved in the community? Are they getting involved in extracurricular, co-curriculars? And then finally, obviously, it's that essay, a well-written essay. That's the one part we've been finding that colleges really are sitting down and going over very carefully. So we have to make sure that your kids are good readers and writers, so that when they express themselves in that essay, that it expresses who they are and puts them in the best possible light. And then lastly are those letters of recommendation. Now that's something I think that the kids need to start focusing on when they walk in. You know, I always tell the kids, in your junior year, you're going to have to ask a teacher or two teachers for letters of recommendation. And if you want them to write good things about you, how hard you work, how good of a human being you are, how kind you are to others, then you have to work hard. You have to be a great human being, and you have to be kind all the time and model that. You always want to put your best foot forward, and always look at a teacher that's sitting in front of you. Is that potential letter writer for you? And then obviously, that's going to be the acceptances to colleges now, that broader, better picture of the child. So that really puts us in an area where getting them ready for that, or getting them ready for career, is extremely important. I like this statistic that says 65% of the class of 2026 will have jobs that don't exist yet. And the average 12-year-old is going to hold 7 jobs and may never step foot in a brick and mortar building to have a job. 41% of America is working fully remote right now. And we don't see that really changing that much. So yes, we are in the middle of a pandemic, but I think people have realized that people can be productive, and they don't have to report to a building to be productive. So what that means to us is, as the world changes, so must we. We have to really focus on those soft skills for kids across the curriculum. Math is extremely important because of the critical reasoning it teaches. English is important because of the critical reading you do and writing that you do. Math, biology, they too are, if you look at the Regents exams that they're going to need to pass, have become almost exclusively reading tests, the ability to critically read. So if you look at the skills, that the communication, the collaboration, the critical thinking that the kids have to do, it's not just housed in the cores anymore. It's housed in everything we do. It's housed in in many of our electives that we have. I can sit up at graduation and talk in front of 1,000 people without getting nervous at all. And it's not because I took social studies in high school. It's because I sang in the choir. And I learned that skill, and I wasn't afraid to do that anymore. So there are so many important skills, those ancillary skills that are going to be taught in some of the electives that we offer. So we really encourage the kids to explore those electives. So our goal then is for our kids, when they leave at the end, when they're in the auditorium and I hand them their diplomas, that they're future ready. And I think that future readiness starts tonight with the conversation that you're going to have with Eric Guercio as you start to make your children's schedule. So, and there's so many questions I know you all have, and they're all over the place. It could be specific to your child. It could be general to 8th grade. And the one thing I can tell you is, oops, I've been pushing the button and I didn't know it. Here you go. All your answers I will answer all your questions, or we will answer all your questions in due time. And I think that it's important. Everyone always makes fun of me because I call it Mr. Durkee's three-legged stool analogy. We're successful here because of a three-legged stool, and every leg of that stool is important. It's the child, it's the school, and it's the parents. The more we work together, the more we have a constructive, collaborative relationship, that's how our children succeed here. I've been doing this a long, long time. And people always say, oh, what's the secret to success for your kids? And I always say, it's not a real secret. It's the fact that we have a great relationship with the adults, with the children's parents, and we work collaboratively for the betterment of the children. And it's interesting because when I look at the problems that I deal with on a regular basis, it's because one of those legs is gone. You know, and it's a real, that once one of those legs are gone, it tips right over and doesn't work. So it works great when we work together and we have this relationship. That's why if you ever see our new motto, that word connect at the top, I think is one of the most important words that we have. That connect is that reference to the relationships that we need to have. So the ultimate goal here is, are we preparing kids for college and career, college or career or college? And the reason I add career or college now is because of the amount of businesses that are offering tuition assistance to their employees and having to pay, my son, I'm lucky that he goes to a SUNY school, but we get no financial aid. And having to write a check for $12,000 twice a year is a hefty sum. And I'm glad that he has chosen his path to become a teacher. But many kids don't know what they're going to do when they walk out of here. It's still, at 18, we know they're babies, because at 18 we were babies, even though we thought we could tame the world. And so I add that last one, career and college, in. And it came to me a few years ago when we were at SRC, and I saw a 20-year-old engineer tech working on one of the top secret radars that SRC works on for the government. And he was telling me that, yeah, I work here, but I'm doing my undergraduate at RIT, and SRC's paying the whole bill. I'm like, oh my God, you're getting an RIT education for free. Actually, you're getting paid to go because you're working at SRC. So that's becoming more and more a norm as you start to see some of these companies want to attract the good kids that are coming out of high school or coming out of junior college, as they're offering these tuition assistance programs. So that's one of the things we really got to start to figure out in the next 4 years is, what's that path? Is it going to be college? Is it going to be career? Is it going to be career in college? We're not quite sure, and really that's going to happen through dialogue. We're all going to talk about that. and I call it the instructional right fit. This is such a Goldilocks moment here, is there's one thing I will tell you for sure. There isn't one child that walks across the stage that has taken the same path to success to graduate from Marcellus Senior High School in the Marcellus Central School District. It doesn't happen. They take different teachers, they take different courses, they've gotten different grades. It's all their own unique individual education, and that's really what we hone in on, is that unique education. And again, find that instructional sweet spot where the rigor of the curriculum is just right for them, and it's not too hard where they shut down, and it's not too easy where they get bored. And it's right there in the middle where we have to find that instructional sweet spot. A lot of times I get asked, does my child have to take every AP course that comes down the line? And I say, take it from your high school principal who took one AP course. You don't have to. You don't have to. We want our children not to be so stressed. The stress level with an AP course, because it is college level, is pretty high on kids. And we recommend only 2 at a time. And I would prefer kids take one and really focus on it and get the experience of what it's like. So there are very few kids that I've seen over my years and years that can handle a whole course load of AP courses. And if they were to do that, they're not doing much else besides AP courses, I can tell you that. And again, I'm sure you've seen this. Our goal is to get them from 9th grade right up to graduation, and it's not that linear. It's going to kind of look like that as we go. Your kids are going to make mistakes, and they're going to fail, and they're going to learn from their failure, and they're going to move on, and they're going to grow. We don't look at failure as necessarily a bad thing at the high school. We look at it as an opportunity for growth. We want our kids to get the best grades possible. There's no doubt about that. But sometimes you got to trip and fall and pick yourself up to learn those skills. As adults, we've learned that. And I think it's important to embed that in their learning in the high school. So I think, and again, I am very biased in all this, I think your kids are in great hands. You're going to be working with Eric to do the scheduling for the kids. We do that very specifically. We don't bring down our counselors because there's 3 of them, because we really want to keep the conversations between the parents and the school. And sometimes what ends up happening is when we bring in the high school counselors, we don't know who to call. So I deliberately leave the high school counselors out of this conversation because all of you are going to be talking with Eric Guercio about this. I will end and introduce Eric with telling you that you call, if you ever have a question, from now until your kids graduate from high school, you call me. I'll give you my cell phone. I don't care. If you have a question, you can text me, and I'll answer your questions. I think that's how I've given out my cell phone probably thousands and thousands of times, and nobody ever takes advantage of it. People really have questions, and they want answers, and that's what I'm here for. We will work together. We'll create a team, the 3 of us, you, your child, and us, the school, and we're going to have an outstanding next 4 years. I'll stick around afterwards if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to turn this over to introduce Eric, who's kind of give you the lay of the land in terms of how we're going to schedule our 8th graders. So thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the clicker. All right. Hey, y'all. Thank you very much for carving some time out tonight to talk a little bit about what the next 4 years are going to be, what it's going to look like, what is coming up. With me, I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. I kind of started the scheduling piece today, the individual scheduling for the meetings. I have the first one set up for February 14th. So kind of mark your calendars, be on the lookout from a letter from me, kind of detailing what that process is going to be, and also kind of the time and the day when we're going to come in. So my idea is that we're going to be talking for a half an hour to 40 minutes. Sorry, I'm getting direction from the folks upstairs. Good. Can you see me? Awesome. So, can you guys see this too? Perfect. So, half an hour to 40 minutes, and we're going to talk a lot about, more specifically, all the stuff that I'm going to throw you here today, because there is a lot to unpack. And I could probably spend about an hour and a half talking to you about all the slides I have here, but I figured I'd do you all a kindness and abbreviate that to a quick 20 minutes, half an hour. So there is a lot to look at. There is a lot to say. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to leave here feeling really good about it. So just know that I am going to unpack this even further in our individual meetings. So on that note, let's jump into it. So actually, I like that whole thing there, the program of studies. It is program of studies with the course catalog. It's available on the website at the high school, on the high school website. So if you ever get interested in seeing everything that's offered at the high school, take a look at that program of studies. I believe it'll say 2021-22 program of studies, but not much will change. Things will change in there. Some classes, come and go through the years and might not be available 1 year, but I would say 95% of that is going to be what's available throughout the next 4 years. So again, take a look at it. It's there all year round. It's there now. I'll tell the students when I meet with them probably sometime the next few weeks, I'll give the 8th graders a much simpler version of what we're talking about tonight. So they have a heads up and we're all kind of briefed before we even get to those individual personalized meetings. So the program of studies is also kind of that nuts and bolts. Everything that's available over the next 4 years. The electives, what you can choose to take, or the classes that you have to take. All that specific information about what it is going to be in that program of studies, okay? So, New York State says that everybody, no matter who you are, what diploma type you want, you have to take 22 credits to graduate high school. Most everybody is going to finish with more than 22 credits. Some students will probably finish anywhere between 26 and 30 credits at the end of their 4 years. But you have to have the right combination of 22 credits, okay? So here's the breakdown of that. So everybody, like I said, no matter who you are, what diploma type, whether you're accelerated or not, you're taking 4 years of English. You're taking 4 years or 4 courses in social studies. You're taking 3 in math and 3 in science. You're taking at least 1 credit of a foreign language or a language other than English. You are taking 1 arts or the visual and performing arts. You're taking half a credit of health, so there's a half-year health class. Most everybody will take that in 10th grade, okay? You're going to be taking 2 years or 2 credits of physical education, so PE is one of those half-year courses, so if it's a half-year class, it meets every other day, so it's a half a credit. So the students will be taking 4 years of PE, so there's your 2 credits there. And then I believe that is, the core credits are 18.5, but everybody also has to take 3.5 units of electives. Not everybody will have an ability to take an elective. You start to see elective classes fitting into schedules 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And as you'll see over the next couple slides, not much choice is available in 9th grade. We want to give you a good solid foundation to start taking the classes you need to take to graduate, and then we start building from there, okay? And then here's the other thing too. So there's different diploma types as well. So there's a Regents diploma, there's a Regents diploma with advanced designation, there's a Regents diploma with honors. The one thing that I want you to know, there are some differences. Like you'll notice that, you have some pathways, some content areas to concentrate on. You need more than the 1 minimum unit of foreign language to be eligible for advanced designation. The nice thing is that we don't have to decide, you don't have to decide what diploma type you want today. You don't have to decide what diploma type you want your child or your student to have during our meetings together in February. You will want to start having those conversations because you will have to start picking classes and kind of getting yourself a better pathway over the next 2 years when you meet with your high school counselor at this time next year, all right? So again, I don't want you to feel that you have to subscribe to a certain diploma type right now because we've got some time, all right? And then the Regents exams, right? Everyone knows that these exist. I always tell the students that don't let the Regents exams intimidate you. You've taken final exams before. The only difference is that these are final exams based on the curriculum that you've seen all year. They are developed by the Regents Board in Albany, and every student takes that Regents exam, the same Regents exam, at the same time, at the same day, right? So the other thing to consider here too, these Regents exams are important because to receive credit for your classes, you have to pass the class and you have to pass the Regents exam associated with it, all right? So there's Regents exams that are scattered throughout the 4 years. I believe next year you will be taking, most students will be taking one in earth science. And I want to say that is the only one they'll be taking. Yep, algebra and geometry, but yes. So there's a few even coming up next year, but again, you won't have one for English, for example. That is in 11th grade, and then so that's where that lives as well. So again, we will talk about this. I have other graphics to show you in our meeting that's a little bit more simpler than the ones I'm showing you here too. You know, the other thing too with those honors and those distinctions between the Regents exams types, the other thing is too, another little piece of information that you have to have a 90 on your Regents exams to be eligible for certain diploma types, that advanced designation, okay? So, starting the big picture, right, over the next 4 years, starting in our conversation, you're gonna have a ton of opportunities. Your students, your children are gonna have a ton of opportunities to really kind of expand their horizons, right? Like I always tell the students that, you know, you can do more than just sit in classes. Like you're going to dive deeper into content. You're going to have deeper, more meaningful discussions about what you're reading in the textbook. You're going to be supplementing, you know, your learning experiences with you know, like field trips and other pieces of data that go to it. So you have different classes, and you might want to take Regents classes, and you might have the opportunity, like Mr. Durkee said, that AP classes start to pop up as opportunities for classes to take. And AP classes are just a more detailed version of certain classes, like biology. We have one in U.S. history in 11th grade, but they are a national curricula. They have more rigor to them. There are different final exams and you know, opportunities. If you have a super strong interest in a certain class, that might be something that you might want to have a conversation with your child about. Maybe they're interested in that. Maybe they want to challenge themselves and take an AP level class, right? And as you go past in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you're also going to see opportunities to take college level classes, and you're going to take honors courses too, okay? So those college level classes, we'll talk about that a little bit. A great opportunity to kind of, again, dive deeper into curriculum, dive deeper into information, and save a ton of money on credits that can transfer to a college once they graduate high school. So the one thing that is pretty big is freshman year is a pretty big year, right? It's a new building, it's new teachers, it's new expectations. I always tell the students too, like, you've done this before. The transition from 6 to 7, you've done the transition from 7 to 8, and now you're going to do it again from 8 to 9, all right? So the other thing is too, now when we start talking about the 4-year plan, the transcripts, right? So I tell the students that those transcripts are those 4-year running report cards where the classes that you take freshman year are going to matter. They're going to follow you through the years. And when you're applying to college, you're sending them your 4-year report card, and they're going to see the work that you've done in freshman year. So if students want to take those college level classes or those AP level classes, those honors classes, it's important to start strong in freshman year, because we do look at the work ethic, the interest level about what was done in 9th grade and what you might want to take 11th and 12th grade in those college classes and those AP level classes. Again, the college avenue here and what we have available, all in that program of studies, that course catalog. We have classes from OCC and Syracuse University. We have SUNY Oswego classes. There is a rich catalog of classes, diversity of classes, and from the colleges in which they're offered. So again, something to consider. College level classes don't typically become available to students in at least the room in their schedule until about 11th, 12th grade for almost all students. The early college experience, right? So 11th and 12th grade, typically, students will have opportunities to take classes specifically from OCC. And I can't remember, John, and I'll pitch it to you just to confirm. Do they still go to OCC to take their classes, or does the content and curriculum come to them here at Marcellus High School? Okay. Yeah. So again, that's why that whole freshman experience, that whole starting strong and making sure that you're demonstrating a good work ethic, and if you don't understand something, seek help and really kind of dive in and be willing to make mistakes and learn and be a part of the experience. And it pays off. Junior and senior year is really when students have those opportunities that really are kind of amazing, and this is one of those many opportunities, the ability to take classes at OCC. So the other thing is, too, we have the BOCES experience as well. So the BOCES, the Board of Cooperative Educational Services, become available to students in 11th and 12th grade. Personally, I'm a big proponent of the trades, so if I have students who are interested in, I believe, I'm looking up there, they have them all up there, there's about 15, 16 different programs up there. Culinary arts, there's welding, there's animal sciences, I believe, up there. There are health occupations. So you have very specific things that can turn into jobs immediately when they graduate. All right, so these are usually half-day programs, so in junior and senior year. If these are something we're interested in, we can talk about it at our meetings. I can earmark it on their 4-year plan, which is all digital and available on School Tool. And we can make a note that that's something that they're interested in. So they'll split their time between Marcellus High School and the BOCES campus, whether they're AM or PM level classes or timed classes. Again, like I said, I'm a huge proponent of the trades. BOCES is a great opportunity for hands-on learning. You get experiences out there that you just don't get at the high school level. If you're in that welding program or automotive tech, you are working on cars. Like you are, really getting in there, and you are learning how to do things that you just don't get to in the high school classrooms here. So choices for 9th grade, right? So it's pretty simple. I know that all of the students and sometimes parents probably get really excited that, oh man, I'm gonna be able to pick and choose all these different classes, but I kind of have to bring them back to reality a little bit that, sometimes in 9th grade, it's pretty straightforward. We're laying that foundation. We're getting them set up so that they will be able to make all those individualized choices and start to pick classes based on interest levels. So every freshman, every 9th grade student next year is taking English 9, and then from there, we can go to English 10, 11. It's pretty straightforward. There are some options, too, to take some AP level classes starting in 10th grade here. In social studies, everybody next year is taking Global History 1. And then from there, you'll be able to take in 10th grade Global History 2, U.S. History and Government in 11th grade, and then 2 half-year courses, Economics and Government. And then you'll notice here, too, you'll start being able to take AP level classes and some college level classes once you get to senior year. So the SUPA acronym up there is the Syracuse University Project Advanced. So obviously those classes are coming from Syracuse University. Math is where it gets a little bit more complicated, right? There's a lot of different little options here, but most everybody next year is going to take, actually everyone's taking algebra next year. So sometimes what that means is you're going to take algebra, just the class. If you're someone who struggles in math, we might want to talk about scheduling algebra with a lab, which means that it's the standard regular algebra class. And then every other day, you're going to spend some time in an algebra lab where you're going to get extra support. You're going to be able to ask questions, and you're going to really get more of a small group instruction based on the content and the curriculum that you're seeing in there. And then science, everybody next year is going to take a earth science class. Even if you are an accelerated student taking a living environment, you're going to take earth science next year. And we'll talk about the intricacies here too, science and the diploma types and the amount of Regents exams you have to pass. It does vary, but we don't have to start worrying about that until 10th, 11th grade, okay? And then this is just what I was talking about earlier. This was the accelerated pathway. So the students who are taking living environment right now are going to take earth science, and then from there they get an earlier opportunity to take some honors level classes, some AP level classes, and some college classes as well. The language other than English, right? Some students are taking French 1 right now, some students are taking Spanish 1 right now, and some students are taking French 8 or Spanish 8. So depending on what you're doing in 8th grade, really kind of determines where we're going to go in 9th grade. Do you want to take the 1 minimum year of a foreign language if you are taking French or Spanish 1 right now? If you're taking French or Spanish 8, we need to get that 1 minimum requirement for New York State graduation. They have to take either French or Spanish 1 next year. Again, we'll talk about, if you're wanting to go to college and the benefits of taking more than 1 year of a foreign language might be something that we might want to consider taking, going on to either French or Spanish 2 next year, and so forth over the next 4 years. That's right. And then the last piece here is just that visual and performing arts. Everybody needs that 1, right? So up at the high school, there is, it's really cool to look at all the different opportunities we have here to meet that visual and performing arts. I know typically sometimes students think that the visual and performing arts is, it's either chorus or band or it's studio art, but we have a CTE department up there in the agriculture stuff too that, you can take a technology class. DDP is something that you can take next year if that is something that you're interested in. You don't have to take just band or chorus to meet that visual and performing arts credit. So again, this is what we're talking about. The other thing that I'll spend some time with in our individual meetings is talking about the prerequisites, right? Not all of these classes are going to be available to 9th grade students. So, to unlock almost all of those classes, students have to take a certain class so they're prepared and ready and have a foundation to be successful in the other ones. So if you're looking at the visual arts, everybody has to take studio art in order to take all those other classes up there, right? So, and then the technology department, you have to take typically DDP to start getting into other things as well. So again, once you unlock those classes, that catalog is it's really incredible. And it's a great little program that we have for students up there to really kind of take a break from the traditional textbook notes and just, that I got to study, I got to get my homework done, and it's a nice hands-on experience and something different, something unique, something fresh, which is always huge and helpful. So that's it. So in the nutshell, there's a lot of information there. And the nice thing is that we have time to really get there. You don't have to absorb all of this right now. We have the opportunity coming up, like I said, those 30 to 40-minute meetings individually. You guys are going to be able to ask me questions. We're going to come up with a 4-year plan together. The nice thing is, even with that 4-year plan, that is not something that's set in stone. That 4-year plan is this editable and living document where we can add things and we can take things out. And if just because you want to take something in 10th grade, or if you want to take that elective in 11th grade and we put that in the 4-year plan, we can take it out, we can add to it. Once I finish up and we show you and your student where that 4-year plan is in School Tool, and I click the save button, it's theirs to edit. The high school counselor, their high school counselor will see that, but we won't make anything official until we have these meetings, right? So they can get in there and change that 62 times over the next 365 days, and they can evolve, they can change that as their interests change over the course of the years, right? So that's nice. I want you to know that that's the big piece. We're not coming up with a solid official 4-year plan. We've got lots of avenues to pick and choose and to change and to add to and to take away. So, and I always tell the students, the high school is an amazing experience. You are going to learn a ton about yourself. Okay, so all those interests and passions that they have are going to merge with the experiences that they're going to have in high school. So They're going to learn about what they're interested in, and they're going to learn about what they may have thought was interesting but maybe didn't, and now it's back into the action and how things are connected. So, by the time they're done and we have these conversations over the next 4 years, they're going to be in a really good spot to take that next step of what we want to do post-secondary, right? So all the things that we've accomplished, all the things that they're interested in, that can be logged on that 4-year plan. And once we start talking about college application process, they're going to have a really good idea of what direction they want to go. So again, a lot of information. We've got a lot of time to unpack it, a lot of time to make choices, a lot of time to ask questions, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I want you guys to feel good about it too. Look for something in the mail from me. You're going to get a letter telling you when our meeting's going to be. Personally speaking, I would like to have it in person, but I am not opposed to virtual. So I am all for doing whatever you are comfortable with. But the guarantee is that you're going to have 30 to 40 minutes one-on-one with me and your child, and we're going to come up with a good 4-year draft. So on that note, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. So if you guys have any questions, stick around, let me know, ask questions. And again, thanks for coming out. Thanks for carving that time and something that's a really cool experience over the next 4 years. So thanks.